If you're doing real estate part-time right now, maybe you've got a full-time job, maybe you're a nurse, a teacher, a contractor, and you're trying to figure out if real estate is actually worth doing, what your schedule should look like, and even what you should be focusing on every single day. This video is going to answer all of that for you. I'm going to cover whether you can succeed part-time, whether you should work buyers or listings, how to pick the right brokerage and fit, what your schedule should look like, the tools you're going to need, and how to get clients even when you have limited hours and know exactly when you're going to be full-time. All right, well, let's dive right into it. I get asked this question very often. Can I actually succeed doing real estate part-time? The short answer, yes, it absolutely could be done. I want to reframe your mindset on one thing. Stop promoting yourself as a part-time agent. Nobody wants to work with anybody that's part-time at anything. Rephrase it as you are dual career, but just remember this, you have the same standards and expectations as a full-time agent. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive in. The biggest variable is not the market, it's not your brokerage, it's not even your schedule. The biggest variable is how bad do you want it? That's what it all comes down to. I've seen it work with agents that have had full-time jobs, they're a full-time parent, and a packed schedule. I've also seen full-time agents with wide open availability phase out of the business literally within 6 months. The agents that are dual career that actually make it are the ones that treat this like a business, not a random hobby that they picked up just to do here and there when they feel like it. So yeah, you can do it, but go in with your eyes wide open. So, should you be a buyer's agent or a listing agent? Where do you start? Most brokers are going to say, start with buyers. And, buyers are the low-hanging fruit. The skill floor is a little lower, but here's what they're not going to tell you. Working with buyers is 5 to 6 times more intensive than we're working with sellers. A typical buyer transaction might take you 10 to 15 hours of active time. A listing might be closer to 2 hours. So if you're working 9 to 5 or you're working 12-hour shifts as a nurse, those extra hours matter. And depending on how hot your market is at the time, I'm not saying that you have to be a 24/7 Pop-Tart realtor. Whenever somebody says they want to have a showing, you need to stop, drop, and run. But what I am saying is your availability does matter. Now, your value as a real estate agent is not opening up a door. You could get a showing agent to cover those showings, but that's going to start costing you some money. So start with buyers if you need to, but I would be working really hard on obtaining the skills to go after listings as soon as possible. That's where your time is going to be the best spent. Think about it this way. You can probably juggle 10 listings without any help working a 9 to 5 job. Can you manage 10 to 15 buyers working your full-time job? The answer is probably not. So now let's talk about how to find the right brokerage as a dual career agent. Here's what I tell any dual career agent that's interviewing brokerages. Forget the commission split conversation, at least for right now. Here's why. 100% of nothing is nothing. The question you should be asking myself or any of the brokers that you're interviewing is, what kind of coaching, training, and accountability do you have in the evening or to match your schedule as a dual career agent? I'm not talking about training videos. You can watch my YouTube for training videos. I'm talking about real live support for you as a newer agent who's dual career, who's going to need support, accountability, and somebody that's going to guide the way for them. Here's the trap. I've seen agents do this. They'll sign up with 100% commission brokerage. There's absolutely no support. Then they might stumble upon a deal and have no idea what to do. Find a place or find a brokerage that has real mentors, real coaches in place. That alignment is worth so much more, no matter even what it costs, versus 100% commission and no support. So let's talk about your schedule. Here's the framework that works. I want you to not just copy and paste this, but I want you to implement this with your current situation. Here's 5 core activities that need to live in your schedule. Number 1, skills. Every single day, you have to work on your skills. Let's put the other job aside for a second. The question becomes, who are you going to role play? Asking questions. Who are you going to role play objection handling with? Who are you going to role play anything that you're doing with? All you need is 30 minutes a day. You can do that early in the morning. Heck, you can even do that with ChatGPT. If you need help with that, comment below. I'll help you. Number two, it really should be number one, lead generation. This is your outbound activity. This is going to be focused on your database, open houses, expired listings, for sale by owners. Because here's the thing, without activity, without conversations, you're not running a real estate business. So lead generation has to be the priority. Number 2B, lead follow up, making sure that no opportunities slip the cracks. This is where your database is going to come in. And number 3, social media marketing. I don't care what you do at your other job, but if you want to be thought about as a real estate agent, you need to market yourself as a real estate agent. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I wouldn't overwhelm yourself trying to be on all the platforms. I would say number 1 is YouTube, and number 2, you could pick a Facebook or an Instagram or a TikTok. Doesn't matter so much, but one connecting site. I would be focused on 3 to 4 pieces of content consistently around education. The questions that your sellers and buyers are asking today, I would be posting that in a video format with keywords every single week, at least 4 times a week. Number 4 is focused on appointments. If you're not focused on appointments, what are we doing? The goal of your conversations, now I'm not saying every single conversation like with your sphere will lead to an appointment, but the goal is to find appointments every single week. When I say appointments, I mean a new buyer consultation or a new listing presentation weekly. Because without those, you don't get contracts signed and you don't get closings. And then number 5, one of the most important pieces of education for you to know is your contracts. Everything you ever want to know is in your contracts. To be specific, your buyer agency agreement, because you're going to need to know that when you're on a consultation. Your listing agreement, because you're going to need to know that when you're on a listing presentation. And then in Pennsylvania, we have the agreement of sale. Everything you want to know about real estate is literally in that document. That is the core fundamentals of real estate. So if you want to gain confidence really quickly, learn those 3 documents, learn them well. If you're a full-time agent, you're spreading this across the board very evenly throughout the week. If you have another job, you're kind of compressing it. You can shrink these things into little time blocks either throughout the day, after work. Here's a big tip. Saturday, if you work a 9 to 5 job, Saturdays and Sundays is going to be your Super Bowl. Think of it this way. Wake up early on a Saturday, lead generate for a couple hours, make your calls, then go to your open house. That's a show in itself. So that's an opportunity to meet neighbors, to continue to market yourself around that open house on social media. Bring your computer. I'll talk about that in a few. So you may be saying to me or thinking, what tools do I actually need? Well, start with what's free to you first. Number 1, get a Google Calendar. You have to be very regimented with your time. Your schedule and your time blocking is going to be absolutely key for this to work. And the second thing I would get is a database. Here at Keller Williams, we have a great database called KW Command that it has automations and your tasks and follow-up systems, things that are automated to help work for you when you're not working. If you're going to be calling some of the expired listings that I talked about, you can watch my other video. I could give you a 10% discount on phone numbers. Drop in the comments below. Please do that in a TPCA friendly and compliant way. So how do we actually get clients when our time is limited? This is where either dual career agents figure it out or they don't. So here's what actually works. Number 1, your database and your sphere of influence first. These are your people, your friends, your family members, your neighbors, your coworkers that you currently work with at your job, your old coworkers. You got to let them know that you are in real estate. I know it sounds very basic, but I can't tell you how many real estate agents I've seen over the years that thrive with being secret real estate agents. They have a license and they did really well on a test and nobody knows that they're in the business. 6% of the people that you know either know somebody that has a real estate need or they have one themselves. So your database is going to be your data bank. And here's the deal. This is the biggest limiting belief from a newer agent or any kind of agent who's struggling. I don't want to talk to my sphere because they're all set. They own a home. They're not buying anything. Great. I could care less. Your job is to reach out to them for referrals. You need to capture the mind share. And I'm sorry, one Instagram post saying you're in real estate, that person already forgot. Not because you're not good. It's because people have things, they have life, and you're not always top of mind. The agents that are top of mind always win the game. The next is open houses. If I were you, I would be doing 2 on Saturday, I'd be doing 2 on Sunday, and I would be doing them during the week. Success is simple. It's not easy. I never said this was going to be easy. But if you want it this badly, you're going to do what it takes to succeed. Open houses, your store is open. That is literally your office for the day. There's going to be opportunities to meet buyers that are coming in and set appointments with them. There is going to be opportunities to meet neighbors, gather information, because neighbors are going to be future sellers. You make them part of your database and your sphere. And guess what? If it's slow, bring your laptop or your iPad and reach out to your database. Follow up on leads and opportunities that still need to be spoken to. Okay, you did all that. Great. Now use the time to film some social media content, of course, with permission from your listing agent, but I'm sure nobody would have a problem with that as long as you asked permission, but use it to film content. Right? You're at a gorgeous property. I'm sure visually it's going to look good. Film some content. Remember how many I said you need? 3 to 4 videos. What would it look like you giving some education? A, you're doing the open house. B, ask an opinion on something. C, give some education. But the weekend prospecting is literally going to be your edge and advantage as a dual career agent. Taking advantage of the weekend. Remember I said a couple minutes ago about talking to or making phone calls in the morning? Think about the pickup rate on a Saturday morning. Everybody's home. Why wouldn't they pick up the phone, right? Versus the full-time agent that's burnt out all week from the hustle and bustle, right? This is your time to shine. So how do I know when it's time to go full-time? Don't quit your day job when you get your first listing or your first buyer. Remember, real estate could be in 90-day cycles. From the minute you sign that agreement till the time, as long as it's priced correctly to actually get to closing, it could be 30, 60, 90 days. We don't know. But a pro tip, I would have and I would advise at least 6 months in reserves, because your job as a real estate agent is always to do the right thing. The desperation is what we call commission breath. The agents who need deals so bad that they make bad decisions and they get frustrated with their clients, then they don't ask the right questions, and then they get, it's their fault, it's everybody's fault but themselves. Don't be that agent. One last piece of advice before we wrap up. You're probably watching this video because you're part-time, maybe thinking going full-time. Maybe you're scared to take the leap, whatever that reason may be, but you actively found this video interesting. Here's what I'll advise you. Have one coach or one mentor that you're going to go to. Not 5, not 500 videos from 500 different people every week on YouTube and at your brokerage. The problem is the information's not wrong. The problem is you start using 6 different scripts, 6 different ideas, 7 different lead generation things. And before you know it, you just get burnout. If I were you, I would pick 2 to 3 things lead generation wise, stick to those for 6 months consistently, work on your skills, market yourself consistently on social media. Then I want to know the result. If you found this helpful, please comment below. I respond to every and all comment. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.